You're tuned in to Live Farm Girl Fit.
It's fitness as a lifestyle.
Keep it simple, get it done.
I know food is fuel. What I'm making at home tastes better.
Hard work yields results.
The best part of Farm Girl Fit is the people.
Welcome to Live Farm Girl Fit, episode 9. We're your hosts, Jaunessa.
And I'm Jenny.
And we're coming off the Memorial Day weekend, feeling a little bit festive still. Here, yes. A little red, white, and blue.
Feeling a little not rested. Yeah. I don't know how, but I feel like I didn't have a 3-day weekend, but no, that's okay.
Busy? What were you guys up to?
Just, 2 little ones, and actually my in-laws were in town this weekend, and kind of corresponding to our topic today. She's a little bit of an inspiration there, but go ahead and tell them what we're talking about.
So today we kind of want to address the question about whether exercise is the true fountain of youth. So there's this stigma of aging, and as you get older, things start happening. Your body starts changing, your metabolism slows down, hormonal changes, and there's sort of this idea out there that that's just how it is. That's what happens as we get older, and that's the way it's going to be.
And I definitely think it's an attitude that you can either accept or, you think that way and that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
We know it firsthand. My mother-in-law is a prime example of this, actually. She actually just had full knee replacement surgery and not too long ago. And she kind of walked in our doors and was just kind of strutting in. And for a long time, she had this very recognizable gait. Just kind of side to side. It seemed like she was sort of always in pain, even though she never seemed like she was. And then this, she's totally straightened out now. Her gait is totally different. And my 3-year-old, without even saying anything, he's the one that was like, "Oh, Grandma, you're walking so much better," and that made her feel so. She lit up. I mean, it was amazing. Yeah. But she definitely doesn't have that attitude, that stigma that a lot of people sort of say, "Oh, I'm getting to be a little bit older. That means I can't do this or I can't do that." She's a prime example of always saying that. "Oh, I can do that. Yeah, let's go do that."
Yeah.
Even if she is in a little bit of pain, but now she won't be, so it's really great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that, as we've trained women, really, truly, women of all ages, and it's one of the things that we want to get across, that it's never too late to start, and there are things that you can do regardless of the age that you are, regardless of what your prior background might be, to help sort of combat these signs of aging. I mean, some of it is true. Your metabolism does start to slow down. As women, we go through hormonal changes throughout our life, which can affect all kinds of things, but there's a certain amount that can be kind of put off or prevented if you exercise, with exercise.
Right, and you might be at a certain point where before exercising you definitely need to check with your doctor and see if you're healthy enough to do some of these types of exercises. But in our case, we do, we're very open with let us know what your limitations are right now and any past history and all of that before we start going. But we definitely have a pretty good population of women over a certain age, and they come in here and they're just ready and willing, and I think half the battle is having that attitude, knowing that you know what, I am going to be in this environment and I'm going to be doing some things that maybe I haven't done before, but I'm willing to do it, and we've had some really great success with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so particularly when you look at kind of our style of training, we incorporate strength training as one of the most important aspects, and usually pretty different from what women are used to doing, especially women who might be over 50 or over 60. It just wasn't as popular or as common really for women to do weight training.
Right.
So that's one of the big things. And for a lot of the women, even we might see women who have been active playing tennis or golf, but as they age, they start to notice they're slowing down, and your joints start aching a little bit or whatever.
It's really the resistance, the weights, the jumping, building back that bone density that I think is so key, and actually strengthening your body. So not necessarily just maintaining a level of fitness to where you could still play tennis 3 times a week. that's really actually kind of specific. And we say, yes, obviously get outside and do what you like to do, but noticing that maybe at a certain point you actually need to get out of your comfort zone or things that you normally do and do some weight bearing exercise, some jumping, short little sprints, things like that. But it's definitely something that I think people are starting to realize that actually, you know, osteoporosis and this bone density thing really is something that you can reverse and pay better attention to as you get a little bit older.
Yeah, and it's huge for women. It's super common in women to have osteoporosis, kind of the, you know, losing of your bone density, but it's one of the few things that's actually reversible.
Right.
I mean, besides being able to build muscle, build and maintain muscle, building and maintaining bone density too.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a big thing, and I think people are starting to catch on. But we have a really great group of gals that we've trained here. We have a couple tidbits to share with you. I'll let you go first.
Well, I think the big thing that we try to think about here is we want you to get out of your comfort zone a little bit, but really it's not about being able to put X amount of weight over your head. It's about being capable and independent and aging gracefully, really. And so one of the things I absolutely love, we have a member who's she's 51, and she's just talked about that one of her big goals as she's watched her mother age and people of that generation, one of her big goals is to always be able to clip her own toenails, which I absolutely love.
Practical fitness and mobility.
Yeah, because that's the other thing. It requires, I mean, mobility, really, which is another thing that tends to go, the more you kind of sit in the same positions or don't move as much, you lose that mobility thing. And so just to be able to reach your own toes and clip them or paint them or whatever, I love. And I don't know, I feel like something that not really, men would never think about that, but
no, or just something that,
sure.
you know, obviously, like we talked about, your goals should be driven by something that's really important to you. And it's like some of the little things are really important, like being able to do things for yourself is a big thing. And another member who we've spoke about before, who wanted to be able to stand up without using her arms or lift up her grandkids and all of that. But Marietta's a very funny lady, and she comes in here and she will say, I get the over 50 head start, because we started all at the same time or whatever. So she will be like, where's Marietta? Oh, she already started. We got to catch up to her. So she gets the head start, which I love. And then I actually was able to sort of train her before we actually opened the gyms. Met her at the parks a couple times. She lived by me. And really all it wasn't necessarily to get her to get in shape before the gym opened. It was to give her that confidence and give her a taste for some of the exercises that we would be doing. Because I think there is this culture of women's fitness that has evolved, and it's okay to be sort of a gym rat or be going to the gym and saying, yeah, I'm going to go lift some weights or I'm going to go do that. And back in the day, I really think that it wasn't. You know, you see those funny exercise photos from way back
with,
in the day.
The belt that like vibrates
the belt
you
jiggler and like some of these things that was like, women weren't supposed to go to the gym necessarily. They were supposed to get this funny contraption and not eat butter, you know, whatever it was. And so actually I think that, you know, we see it. We see these older gals come in here and they have so much fun and they've never done this stuff before. But they're realizing that the culture of fitness and really the science and everything backing it is significant. So
yeah, and we have a couple kind of tidbits for the way that we approach it here, because, you know, our model is that it's personalized training in a group setting. So there's something about that group dynamic that makes it fun and keeps you motivated. But we don't want everybody doing exactly the same workout. We want to challenge people who need the challenge, but challenge them within what they're capable of. So we just kind of wanted to share a couple of the ways that we make that, besides the over 50 head start, of how we make it kind of achievable. And the over 50 head start is one. Another one that we use a lot with running is if it's, you know, the whole group heads out for however long of a run, a 100-meter run or a 200-meter run that's an out and back, then we always tell our older gals, or maybe people who are newer, that whenever you see that first person turn around, wherever they are at that turnaround point, you turn around too, wherever you are, and then you'll both be coming back about the same time. And it's a good way to keep everybody together.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, depending on the distance too, like if it's supposed to be a little bit longer distance, maybe when they meet each other, then that person turns around too, because then there's the timing is there. So we're really thinking about setting people up for success rather than failure. And so everybody's kind of in this, they're doing their best in their own realm. And I think that we really do pay attention to the older gals and make sure that they're really being challenged, but yet they're not feeling like they're not succeeding in some way either. So
and talking about like the jumping, which is so good, but if you haven't jumped in a long time, or maybe if you have already started to experience some osteoporosis or some bone density, you know, the impact we need to manage a little bit, like start working small and building it up. So even like stepping is some amount of impact, but it's not the same as jumping yet necessarily. And that's kind of one of the ways we work with too.
Right, and singles, jump roping, singles. Some of the gals will come in here, I haven't jump roped since grade school, but you know, it really is good, that little tiny hop. Or instead, like for instance, at our boxes are 12 inches and then the jump is up to 20. So, you know, that's a pretty significant, you know, jump up. So we'll sometimes use our 45 or 25 pound plates that have, you know, they're going to be 4 inches versus 2.5 inches, and just incrementally working people up. That's a really good tip too.
And some of the other things is like we'll sometimes take away the angle. So there's things we do on the floor like push-ups or burpees where you're going all the way down to the floor, and that might be a long way to go all the way down and all the way back up. So give you kind of an elevated surface with those boxes, or multifunctional, or we'll use a bench. So something to kind of take away some of those things. So a couple little tidbits for you there. One of the other ones I love for a kind of a substitution for running is doing like a weighted carries. We call them farmer's carries, but if you have weights in either hands. And the thing about that is it's so functional, truly, like carrying your grocery bags or carrying a suitcase.
Or whatever,
So instead of running however amount, cut the distance down in half, but make it weighted, and it's that weight bearing. It's going to get your heart rate up, that resistance training. So
So we really try to run the gamut as far as getting your body to be in different positions. So we'll try not to let anybody just totally omit something. We definitely try to ease people into it, make sure that they're doing things safely. But I think that part of, you know, being able to work out at any age is just being willing to actually do some of these things, even if it looks differently. So I think just once you start accepting that, okay, yes, I'm going to be one of the older people here or whatever it is, but I'm doing it and I'm doing something that's probably benefiting me more than some of the younger people. I think just realizing that is a good first step too.
And it's such an inspiration too. I mean, the dynamic of the group training, it goes both ways. I mean, you might be older and see these young guns doing whatever they're doing, and it's inspiring, but I promise it works the other way too. Watching somebody who's in her 60s, late 60s, who's running or jogging and jumping and
doing everything you're doing.
That's what we want for our future, and it's inspiring to see that it can happen, it is happening, and all is not lost.
No, and I think there's something to be said about aging gracefully, and that exercise can really be something that helps you do that. You can stay more capable longer. You can feel better about yourself and others as long as you're keeping up, you know, exercising weekly.
And it's those little pieces of independence, like being able to clip your own toenails. Or one of our other members is a nurse practitioner, and she said one of her patients who's an older lady. I think she said she was in her 70s, and like 20 years ago she just had this revelation that someday she might fall and be by herself, and she didn't want to be stuck on the floor. So every single day she lies down all the way flat on her back and makes herself get all the way up under her own power, and she's going to do it every day so that she knows she'll always be able to do it.
I think that's really awesome.
It was so inspiring to have that insight too, like 20 years ago or however long ago, that I need to do this.
That's pretty awesome.
And a couple other things about the style of training that we do. I mean, we talked a little bit about osteoporosis and building the strength, maintaining your bone density, and building muscle. But there's also building your agility and your coordination and your balance
is huge.
So that hopefully you can put off having those falls.
And we do a lot of work before we do sort of the workouts. one-legged things and, balancing and a lot of the mobility and stuff. But I love when someone's doing something and they're just like, I get a shortcut here, or like we're doing scorpions or something where you're stretching and you open your hip, and she's like, oh, got there, and now I'm done. I'm like, come on, you can do it, or whatever, and make them stretch a little bit more. But realizing that actually those movements, even though maybe it's kind of something funky, it's actually going to help you if you do fall down or something like that, or you do need to tie your shoe in a weird position or something like that. It's going to be helpful.
Yeah, and with the counting that we make our members do, we do certain things for time, or we control the time and say now you have to count your reps or whatever it is. But that mind-body connection maintains your mental health, and just keeping track of, I have these 4 exercises to do and 10 reps of this and 8 reps of that or whatever. But it's keeping that muscle firing too. Yeah,
and we've heard a lot from our older gals that just being in this environment really helps them feel younger. So they obviously feel good, and maybe they're sore once in a while, but they feel good about their exercise. But also just the interaction with people a little bit younger keeps in, they're hearing some music maybe they don't listen to on their own at home, or, hearing different conversations about what's going on different social media avenues. And, it does actually, you can see it happen. Maybe they're a little bit quiet at first, and then all of a sudden their personality starts showing more because they're feeling more confident.
It's one of my favorite things with one of our members who all of a sudden has started posting selfies on Facebook. And she's always one of the very first people to comment or respond whenever we do our member profiles and stuff. But the connection that she's developed is, most 67-year-old women aren't on social media regularly, and
it's fun.
Love it. Being able to adjust to that's the way people are connecting now, or one way.
I think multiple times I've told Lisa, I said, I want to be you when I grow up. She is probably one of the fastest sprinters we have here, and it's amazing. It's just fun to see that, these women, they're doing the same thing you're doing, and then just knowing that that's how you can be too, you know, as you get a little bit older. But they're fantastic. We love our older members.
And I guess the big thing that we want you to know is that it's never too late to start. And some of these signs of aging they start earlier, and so that whole mental state, whether you're 30 or you're 40 or you're 50 or 60, whatever it is, it's never too late to start combating that. And as long as you have the mental approach that I can do this and I'm going to be open-minded to trying something new because it's for the betterment of my health.
Yeah, it really is. I think even more so than someone in their younger years. I really do feel strongly about older people checking with their doctor and just getting out there and really doing some weight-bearing exercise, because it's going to benefit you more than anybody else.
Yeah. So I think those are kind of our main tips for this episode. We'd love to hear any feedback that you guys have, if there are other things that you're doing at home, or if you're one of our older clients and have a fun story to share. We'd love to hear that too.
Yes, and make sure that you're following us on Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, absolutely, at Farmgirlfit. And be sure to subscribe to our channel either on YouTube and, of course, on iTunes. We would love for you to leave us a review also if you're on iTunes. And
we're about to announce our big prize winners for both YouTube and iTunes and YouTube. So stay tuned for our next episode when we'll be announcing those winners.
Yeah, those big prize packs.
Yes.
You'll see pictures of those coming out soon too. Pretty exciting stuff. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.